Okay, last time we started work on a sample story called Cube Quest, in which the player is hailed by Captain Dolson and told about a new region with some potential artifacts. So let's go ahead and create a new region. A region is a collection of one or more sectors containing persistent objects. In the game, anything that exists in space that the player can potentially interact with and that persists, that is, it will stick around if the player leaves the area and comes back, or quits the game and loads from a save, and so forth, is represented by some subclass of a persistent object. Every persistent object has some associated persistent data, which is the data about the object that is needed to recreate it. So let's start by adding a few persistent objects. We'll add a star in here, maybe some planets. Okay. And a flinger. I've switched views here for a second to illustrate something about persistent objects. In the game engine, the flinger here consists of multiple 3D models, each with thousands of vertices and triangles, multiple texture maps, shaders, point lights, particle effects, colliders, and the various logic components that determine how it behaves when the player is near, etc. And most of that data and code is common to all flingers, so we don't need to keep it all in memory or written to each save for every flinger in the universe. So your save game only consists of the following information about a particular flinger. So here's from somebody's save. You can just see this chunk here is what we need to remember about a flinger that is not in the player's immediate vicinity. Going back to our region editor, all persistents have at least a set of coordinates which stores the universe that the persistent is in, which sector they are in, and their local position within that sector. And additionally, all persistents must have a unique persistent ID here. And these have to be unique. By default, the tool assigns a random ID to any new persistent, but this is not the ID that the persistent will necessarily have in-game. If a persistent ID starts with a pound or hash symbol, then that means that the game will dynamically assign a persistent when that region is added to the universe, and that sort of allows the game to add, say, duplicate copies of a region, and so that the persistents won't conflict with each other. If a persistent object needs to be referenced in the story logic, either through a mission or dialogue, it needs to be given a permanent ID. So, like so. Okay. And in the case of flingers, so all the various persistents can have, besides the persistent ID and their position, they can have additional data specific to their type. So the flinger has a destination ID. In order for it to link to something, that persistent ID needs to be a non-procedural one. So let's add another star system. Let's see, there's a star system. And let's put in a flinger. Flingers don't necessarily need to link to flingers, but that's what most of them do. And we could just link it here directly in the destination ID dropdown. But there's also the ability to, if you've selected exactly two persistent objects and at least one of them is a flinger, then the tool will let you link them together. Okay, now let me hash out this region a little bit more. Let's put another star. here. And incidentally, if you have a persistent object selected in the tool, when you test the region, the tool will automatically teleport you to that location, just sort of makes testing a little bit easier. Let's see if our region actually works. This flinger will hopefully take me to... Don't need that. Another good example of persistent data for persistent objects. Most planets use a variant of the diamond square algorithm combined with a custom shader that blends several textures together to create the visual. But the persistent data really only needs to know which planet prefab was used and then the seed used to seed the algorithm. You see, like so. Okay, in our story, we said Captain Dolson learned of some new gateway coordinates, so we need a gateway. And for historical reasons, gateways are called warp nexus. Copy that persistent ID into my story document. Okay, save the story. Our mission. All right, so first, as soon as the players talk to Captain Dolson, we want to add this new region. And incidentally, the procedural system will try to place the region so that its lower left-hand coordinates are at these coordinates that we provided, but it's not guaranteed. It will, because if the player has explored that region or if some other sector has been placed there, it won't try to trample it. So instead it will do a spiral walk from that position until it finds an area of space large enough to place the region in question. Something just to be aware of. And then okay, so we have our mission detail, and now let's use a different persistent ID. Okay. And let's say it's auto-cleared. So this, again, this detail ID, this will show up in the mission log. And there'll be a line saying the new gateway is at, and then the coordinates of the gateway. And this is going to be, because this is a goal detail, it will show up on the map with the yellow highlighter indicators. And rather than having to have manually add the logic to advance and complete this step, it will be automatically completed if the player is within 100 units of that. So let's see, hopefully this will work. And we just switch to our test mission and then run it. Okay, so we'll leave these over here, switch to the map, and there's the normal star system that's usually there, but our region should not be on the map yet. And there it is. And there it's on the map. So we should be able to autopilot there. Okay, I think that's a good place to stop for this update. And in the next one, I think we'll probably be tackling the additional steps that this storyline needs, such as adding the anomalies, items, and discoveries. Okay, thanks for watching.